You're listening to the Mermaid Podcast here on WPOD-FM, Mermaid Radio. I'm Gary Guppy, and we hope you enjoy today's program.
Welcome to the Mermaid Podcast, where we dive deep into the magical world of mermaiding and all things aquatic. I'm your host, Sierra Mermaid, and these are my co-hosts, Shira, and the man who owns more video games than brain cells, Merman Nathaniel.
Whether you're a seasoned performer, hobbyist, or curious adventure seeker, this is the place for you. We'll be highlighting our fantastic community and what we're all about. Making magic and living out our best mermaid dreams.
Today, we'll be diving into our MerMay episode, so grab your tails and get ready to make a splash. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Blue Sky at The Mermaid Podcast, and join the pod on Discord to connect with our community, linked in the description below. If you like what we do, please consider donating to our coffee to help us continue the podcast. Now, without further ado, let's dive in.
So, before we jump into this episode, we wanted to take a moment and recognize a member of our community that unfortunately passed away a few weeks ago. His name was Merman Dan, and he had been a member of the mermaid community for pretty much as long as it's existed. Mermaiding was his passion, and he joined our community a couple years ago and immediately became such a valued member.
Dan was somebody who, even if you didn't know him directly, you saw him everywhere, and his energy was truly such light. It was a ray of sunshine. Before joining the pod on Discord, I had seen him even on Facebook, where I was still not completely out with the mermaiding community at all. And he was so fun, and he was so full of information and so ready to lift people up. We did just want to take a moment to just dedicate a little bit of time for him.
I, too, remember Dan fondly, even before we made the pod. I remember him from Facebook. I remember him from the old Mer Network days. I would see him, always popping in and just greeting everybody. You couldn't see his face, but you could tell he was greeting everybody with a smile. And when he joined the pod, it was such a huge surprise. It's like, whoa, that's the Merman Dan. That's like a big name in the community. And he's joining our little corner of the internet. And it felt kind of humbling to have him in our presence. And, even though he was a name I didn't see for a little bit up until that point, it was heartwarming to see that he hadn't changed a bit. He was still just as friendly to everybody in the server. He was still like that. He still had that inner child in him that was still alive, was still kicking. He never had that light die out. There was a quote that he always shared on the server, a quote from George Bernard Shaw that reads, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing." And I think I speak for everyone here and for everyone else that knew him personally that, I think that quote embodies him perfectly.
I totally agree. And I just want to
Absolutely.
take a minute and dedicate our MerMay celebrations in his name. He always loved MerMay. He loved getting to talk about his Mersona. He loved getting to talk about mermaids. And he was just truly a larger than life person. He just exuded love and passion for everything that he did. And it's really, really devastating that he's gone so soon. And this has affected so many people throughout the entire community, and it would be remiss of us to not acknowledge it as we go into our mermaid celebrations.
There was actually something really heartwarming that you shared a little bit after his death, Ash, where he was in the midst of planning his next big mermaid convention, and he reached out to you to see if the pod was interested in collaborating. And while it is disheartening that said collaboration won't happen now, I think that also speaks volumes about how he saw the pod. You know, it was welcoming. It was just so nice to see that someone like him, someone that was as big a name as him, you know, he saw our little community as a home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a nice, like, bittersweet feeling to that.
Yeah. Just his loss, it's truly left a gaping hole in all of our hearts, I think.
Absolutely, for sure.
Well, to Dan, in memory of Dan, keep mermaiding on. Don't let yourself grow old.
Dan.
To Dan. This month is for mermaids, MerMay. This is just a celebration of the community as a whole, as us as individuals, and as the hobby and art form as it is. There are plenty of ways to celebrate, both online and offline, whether that be just enjoying the warm weather, finally getting into the water for those of us with cold weather, such as me in upstate New York.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or there are the discussions online, and there is even entire prompts dedicated to each day or week of mermaid.
You know what? I kind of think of Mermaid as like a mermaid's new year. I think this is like when our New Year celebration is, truly.
Absolutely.
It feels it, for sure.
It's a new dawn. Everyone's getting their tails out, at least up here in the northern hemisphere. I know southern hemisphere folks, it's starting to get winter for you, but up here, we're getting our tails out.
It's our time now.
Suck it, nerds. Eh.
The mermaid prompts got posted recently. I know last year there were some questionable ones. Like,
Just wasn't one of them just called like fart? I think I
it
remember
was
fart being on them.
it was something like that. It was just strange for a mermaid prompt. It was toe beans.
Toe beans.
Bean.
Well, it's weird because mermaids don't have toes, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
actually, I'm looking right now. May 25th, hashtag fart.
Hey, hashtag fart. Let's get
Yep,
that trending, people.
yep.
Wasn't
There were
that
other
a
ones.
thing last year, though? I think I'm mutuals with that mermaid who did have a situation during a performance where she had, quote unquote, the mermaid fart that you can get from air pockets within your tail. And she
Oh,
went
that's
viral for it.
hilarious. Oh, not going viral for the
Yes.
fart. Oh,
Oh,
oh. Yeah, there was other ones that I didn't really understand. I guess maybe I'm not totally cultured. I don't know who John Musker is.
oh, you know, John Musker.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah, I'll
guy.
pretend I know who that is, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And like there was May 20th was hashtag Zendaya. Like, why are we choosing specific individual people to make mermaid prompts out of?
Oh,
So,
for
I don't
sure.
know.
It looks like
This
And
last
year.
year they did a lot of just things that were popular in the media because Bluey was also listed for the May 12th prompt,
Mm-hmm.
and Bridgerton was also there.
I feel like Bridgerton was more of a 3 year, 2 year ago kind of thing. But maybe that's just the bubble I'm in on the internet.
All right, well, let's see what the prompt list for this year is. For all we know, we'll probably get something like hashtag skibbity toilet or something.
Dear God, I hope not. All right. Mermaid 2025. We've got May 1st is mirror. That one's
Okay.
interesting.
Starting off strong.
All right.
Cosmic for the second. We've got hair for May 3rd.
I'm
Mermaid hair
excited
don't
for that.
care. Um,
Absolutely.
May 4th, it looks like they didn't take the cheap way out and do something Star Wars themed. We've got hashtag axolotl for May 4th.
Which is fair. The axolotl
Ooh.
song is very popular right now.
Mm-hmm. May 5th, drama. Ooh, I feel like that one can go one of two
So
ways.
many ways.
We can go like theater drama, or we can go like tension, like there's people are fighting, we got
I was
cat
about to say that
fights.
one I'm a little worried about. That one
I
I'm
can't
like,
wait.
somebody could be like, I'm using this to my advantage. I am the drama.
Ooh.
All right,
Ooh.
so
We know how the
May
mermaid community is about drama.
Oof.
May 6th we have Sweet Treat. May 7th we have Miyazaki. I swear to God, if I see any of you using that goddamn Studio Ghibli AI filter, I'm gonna come to your house.
No, no AI.
We do
No
not support
AI.
AI.
No
May 8th is
AI.
Atlantis. Nice one. May 9th, Cubism?
Cubism. I'm gonna have to
Now
look that
that's
up.
interesting.
What does that
What the
mean?
heck? What the heck does
What does that
cubism
mean
mean?
for a mermaid, for sure?
Oh, it's an art style. Cubism was a revolutionary
Oh.
new approach to representing reality invented in around 1907 to 1908 by artists Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque. They brought different views of subjects in the same picture, resulting in paintings that appear fragmented and abstract. It started in
Oh.
Paris.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
Very
So that is
interesting.
absolutely one for the artists.
I've I've
Yes.
I've always wondered what that art style was called. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Uh
one. It's Winnie the Pooh, but he's like in all these shapes. It looks like paper cutouts like
Oh,
combined
yes.
together. But it's a painting,
all
so
right.
that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. May 10th is going to be Lost and Found.
Mm-hmm.
That can be
All
fun for
right.
sure.
I know at
And
least one pod member's OC who would be great for that.
May 11th will be Guard.
That can go a couple different ways. Like you're guarding
Absolutely.
treasure, or, I'm a band nerd, so I think when I hear guard, I think color
Color
guard,
Guard,
like flags. I'd like to see a mermaid try their hand at color guard.
for sure. May 12th is Redraw. I always love to see those. It's so fun to see the progressions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
May 13th is very interesting. This one is Cabaret.
Oh, okay.
That's giving me some nice like Yakuza 0 flashbacks there.
It'll certainly be interesting. It'll be fun to see what people come up with for that one.
All right. May 14th is Brave. That one can also go a couple ways. We've got the Disney movie Brave, and then we've
Right.
got, just Brave as an adjective.
Oh,
May
that's
15th is Peach. That one's another one that could go a couple ways. We got the fruit, we've got the Mario princess. That'll be interesting, especially with
I remember
her game that came out and where she's a mermaid in it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
I remember that made some waves back when that was shown off. Like everybody in our server was kind of freaking out about it. Like, "Oh my god, she looks cute."
Mm-hmm. May 16th, we've got Beach Goth. Nice.
Perfect for
A
me
great
May,
outside of
aesthetic.
my Mersona.
yes. May 17th is Eccentric.
That'll have a
Alright.
lot of fun things to go along with it, seeing that it can pull from anywhere.
I hope we get to see some of people's Mersonas, like some that might have a quirky backstory or personality.
I know of a few people who could definitely make some good fun out of that. So May 18th is Abracadabra. So
Hmm.
that's a very
Magicians.
fun one there. May 19th, Bioluminescent.
Classic.
I have a feeling we're going to get some really creative ones out of that one. I love seeing people try and recreate bioluminescence with some of their mer character. What was it that made the tail that had like those bioluminescent lights along?
Finfolk. That's a Finfolk creation.
Finfolk. Okay,
They
yeah.
created
Yes.
that one for Mermaid Serenity, and then recently their Tale of the Month was a fabric version of it. So I'm sure there are a ton of mermaids who jumped on that, and I'm sure bioluminescence is off the charts in the mermaid community right now.
All right, so May 20th is Clown. Clown? What?
That one could be fun. That was just a quirky one.
Yeah, that
Ooh,
could be
see
fun.
people taking it like the scary clown way though, you know.
Oh,
I mean, I
yes.
guess
I'd love to see a Siren's version of the clown.
Oh.
I guess it's not toe beans or fart, so I'll give it that. All right, May 21st, Aquarium.
Oh,
Oh,
that
I
one's
love
I've,
cool.
that. That's a
I've
classic.
been
I want to see some like mini mermaids, like fairy-sized mermaids, like in an aquarium.
Like
Ooh,
guppies.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like little guppy-sized mermaids.
There was actually this really iconic shot. I hear the name Aquarium, and I remember this iconic shot from this anime called Mermaid Melody, where the two protagonists who are in love with each other, they kiss in between the glass and the aquarium, and it is just such a
Aww.
cool scene. I would love to see people try and redraw that.
Aww. That's so sweet. All right,
Alright.
we've got May 22nd, psychedelic. All right.
Ooh, that could be a lot
Um,
of fun.
May 23, we've got hashtag Stitch. Okay, I think that is meant to be a nod to the live action Lilo and Stitch movie that is coming out.
I think it might be like the last live action remake they're gonna do, because like
I've heard
after
that.
yeah, after Snow White kind of tanked at the box office, like they're just like, yeah, no, we're not doing this anymore, which is
You say that,
nice.
but Disney's greed knows no bounds. They're supposed to be working on a live action Moana still.
I did hear that as well. That a lot of
I've
Oh
cool
god,
seen
yeah, I
stuff
remember
with
that.
Disney.
May 24th, we've got hashtag watercolor.
Be so
Ooh, yeah.
pretty.
May
I can
25th,
totally see.
what can you totally see?
I was just gonna say I could totally see some people making some nice pastel images with those.
Beautiful. Oh, I can see it now. Someone's koi mermaid in watercolor.
Oh
Oh, that would be
gosh, that would
so
be
beautiful.
lovely.
God, not even just the mermaid itself, but even like the scenery where they're like swimming through the corals. And it has like
Yes.
nice like blues and yellows and pinks. Like, oh,
If only we were artists.
yeah.
We're going to be trying our hand at that later in this episode.
Ooh.
So we
Good
will
luck to
truly
us.
Hashtag
see.
foreshadow.
Hashtag foreshadowing. So then May 25th, we have Tsunami. Okay, that could be cool.
That could be a fun one.
Ooh, that could be angsty too, you know?
Yes.
It
Ooh,
could be
I
very
yeah.
would live for
angsty.
some angst. I'm all over it.
May 26th, Memory. It's a
That
bit
could be
abstract.
so cute.
Huh.
Yeah. Maybe people illustrate like a memory of theirs, but like with their Mersona. I don't know.
Yes.
That
Ooh,
one could be
yeah.
interesting.
May 27th, we have Oasis.
The band?
Oasis.
I literally was thinking that.
Oasis. Have y'all ever heard of Mermaids in the Desert?
No, but I have heard
No.
of Wonderwall.
Everyone's heard of Wonderwall. Come on.
May 28th, we have Gemini.
Gemini. Ooh.
Yeah.
Isn't that the
Okay,
name
and
of like
astrological.
some companies? Google's AI, I think.
Oh, shoot.
Gross.
Yeah.
Boo!
I think astrology right away. I don't even think of AI. AI is out of sight, out of mind for me.
Yeah.
We do not stand. May 29th, though, we have Wicked.
Wicked.
That could be
So-
a few ways.
Fans of the musical could go that route. Or, if you're not a fan of the musical, you could just go the traditional definition of Wicked. Get some siren action in there.
For sure. May 30th is, this one's going to be fun, Exoskeleton.
Ooh, that's
Ooh,
cool. Like
okay.
bugs. Like bug mermaid.
Shrimp or
Shrimp.
crab? Crab
Crab.
mermaids.
Rock lobster.
Yes. And finally, we have May 31st, hashtag Serenity. I don't know what to think
Nice.
about that one.
That one is that could be such like a peaceful day though. That's for sure. And I don't even it doesn't even have to be mermaid. It could just be the clouds that you're looking up at when you get to the surface. You know, there's a lot of cute ideas that can go into that.
No.
I think that could be like a nice, like, relaxing way to sort of cap off the month. You know. You know, nothing big, nothing bombastic, nothing explosive. It's just serene.
Before we lose our minds come summertime. Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes. With all the things, all the trips, all the things, all the sights to see. All right. So while that list, I think we can all agree that that list pretty much cooked. All of those prompts were pretty top tier. We also
Mm.
have some other people who take it upon themselves to create their own list of mermaid prompts. One of the members of our community, his name is Mako the Merfurry. You can follow him on Blue Sky at haydenmako.bluesky.social. He has created his own list. So we're going to take a look at that list just to see what other things people have come up with. So we've got number 1 on Mako's Mermaid Prompts 2025. We got salmon. As I'm looking over these, I'm seeing like a lot of species on here. So I see that this one is very like diving deep into the different species that you can make mermaids into. Because number 2, we have nudibranch, which is so awesome. I don't even have to explain that. I don't even know if I've ever seen anyone draw a nudibranch mer.
For those who are not familiar with what nudibranch is, could you explain, aka me?
Oh, so they're like little like sea slugs, right? Hold on. Nudibranch.
Oh,
Let me just
okay.
get. They're like if you remember Finfolk's tale from a couple years ago, the Glaucus atlanticus. I think a member of our community has that. It's the one that's like white and blue, and it's got all like the spiky fins on the side.
Oh, yeah, wow. Oh, wow.
That
Look
one
look at
is
how
based
cute.
off of a nudibranch
Yeah, they're
called
Look at
very,
the
how
very pretty.
blue
That's for sure.
Glaucus.
look at how absolutely cute that is. That one photo that we're putting up on the YouTube
Yes.
upload. Wow, that is so cute. Thank you for doing that for us, Ash.
And
Aw.
they are little
Yeah.
white, fluffy little, or they look fluffy, but I guess they're not fluffy. I don't know why they're fluffy. I'm sure they don't feel nice if you touch them. They're probably slimy, but they look so fluffy and they're like speckled, and they've got these two. I'm gonna butcher my biology here, but they look like little ears, and they're little like dark ears, and they got like a little bun tail, but they're called sea bunnies, and they're a type of nudibranch.
They
And there's
remind me
so
of
many different
hedgehogs.
species. Yes, they do. But that's going to be so cool to see what people come up with using this prompts list. Number
All
3,
right.
we got Y2K.
I love
Nice.
that.
Big
4,
throwback. Big throwback.
Market.
It almost kind of feels like this prompt is like building a world in of itself. Like it almost feels like this is Mako's idea of like what his ideal mermaid world is like, and I feel like that's what I like about it the most.
For sure. 7, this one is a little bit overlap from the prompt list that we just read, the official one. Number 7 is tank, which I guess you could take that a more like militaristic approach, like a military tank, or like, just like a aquarium, like the official mermaid prompt. Number 8, we have monster.
Ooh.
Ooh, all right.
11, we got Cecilia.
Or Cicalia, which I like to pronounce it as.
I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the way I do it is
Cicalia.
right, and everyone else can just.
Cicalia, Cecilia,
Potato,
I mean,
potato.
Potato,
Tomato,
potato,
tomato.
tomato.
Yeah.
Yes, number 16, we got toy.
Boy, all right.
Maybe like toy mermaids. I had so many toy mermaids as a kid, like different Barbie dolls with all the tails and stuff. If I could draw,
Man.
I'd draw Barbie as a mermaid, so.
Those were the
All right.
best.
We're delving into the mythological hippocampus. And for those who don't know what that is, from Greek mythology, it's half horse, half fish. So think mermaid, but instead of a person on the top half, it is a horse.
They are super cool.
They're very cool. Number 22 is Moonlight.
Ooh.
The moon
Ooh,
is silver. I like silver. With my terrible Australian accent.
Number 24, RPG. That's pretty cool.
Oh. I've always wanted to make a mermaid RPG.
Yeah. It's a shame that D&D has not created a mermaid race yet. That's
It
official.
really
You gotta
is.
homebrew it.
Come on, Hasbro. Like, come on.
Get with the program. Give the people what they want.
They could do it this MerMay, even.
They
You know?
could. They
Huh?
could. And think about it.
We
The
know
last
they're
day
not.
of Mermaid, when it gets announced, official mermaid race for D&D. In our dreams.
Hasbro, if you're listening.
Sponsor us. No, I'm kidding. 30 is
Nice.
deep, and 31 is
Ooh,
a
that's
free
deep.
day.
That's deep.
Yeah, yeah. Deep, fall
Not a
every
bad
day.
one to end off on.
No,
Oh,
not
yeah.
at all. Give a little bit of creativity.
Well, that's it for those 2 prompts lists. But if you want to use Mako's prompt list, make sure you post your images with hashtag Mako Mermay 2025.
And remember, folks, if you decide to use the official mermaid prompt list, be sure to tag your art with hashtag mermaid2025. You're listening to WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Need a pick-me-up after a tiring day of work? Try a bucket of popcorn scallops, new from Atlantic Joe's. Deep fried and battered to perfection with a savory gutwheat sauce? They're sure to pop in your mouth. Pick up a combo with fried kelp and an ice-cold Arctic Cola today. Tired of looking for a new or used jet ski that won't break the bank? We've got you covered. At Shark's Ski Lot, we've got what you're looking for. Find a new or used jet ski that'll fit your needs, from Hondas to Yamahas to Sea-Doos and more. No credit? No problem. We'll set up a payment plan just for you. You can swim away with your jet ski as soon as today. Shark Ski Lot, located off the coast of Cape Cod in Massachusetts. My name is Bernie Shark Sr. Come on down! Alright, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be discussing Mersonas.
If you are at all familiar with any communities that have alter ego characters, the biggest one that I can think of is furries, the furry community calling their characters fursonas. This is our version of that, but we call them mersonas. So they're like our personas if we were mermaids, right? So it's gonna be sometimes people have their mersonas look like them, act like them. Sometimes even like you are your own mersona. And other times other people come up with these wild designs for their mersona that maybe they don't look like that in real life, but that's what they identify with when they are mermaids. And you don't have to have a tail or anything to have a mersona. Lots of people come up with their mersona first, and then if they do decide to buy a tail, maybe they'll base it off their mersona, maybe they'll base it off of something else. But you can have as many as you want, as little as you want, and it can be whatever you want, to be honest.
For sure. I'm one of those people who I didn't really think at all about a mersona. Sierra Mermaid, my name actually is Sierra. That's why there's no pun really about it. It's actually my name and how it's spelled. But I realized not too long ago, well, it was probably a year ago now. Time is irrelevant. My first tail that I had bought, I'm the third owner of this whimsy tail. And it was my first bigger purchase for a mermaid tail, even though it is used. And it was pink. It was blue and pink, but I was just so glad to have it anyway, even though beforehand I was black in every other aspect. Everything that I wore was black. My hair was dyed black. I wore black makeup all the time. I had always been a part of a more alternative community, and it was fun and refreshing to wear a color that I probably had not worn since like elementary school, and I'm in
Mm-hmm.
my 20s. So it's, I realized that in itself for me was a mersona,
Mm-hmm.
the different colors that I wouldn't normally wear. And it wasn't until I would say just this Mermagicon that I got back into a more darker color scheme and bought a tail that was purple and black and blue. But beforehand, the last time I had a dark colored tail was the second tail I owned back in, I think, 2023.
I also, I guess I have strawberry blonde, orangey, ginger hair, right? And ever since I was little, I always identified with like the Little Mermaid, like Ariel, because that was like one of the first Disney movies I ever watched as a baby, and I just saw myself in her, and I love mermaids, and that's really what got me onto mermaids. So when a couple years ago, like 3, 4 years ago, whatever, when I first started researching tails that I wanted to get, my first instinct was, oh, my tail's gonna be green and I'm gonna get a purple top and I'm gonna be like Ariel. And the first tail that I did get was green. It wasn't Ariel green. Let's just call it that. It wasn't exactly like hers, but it was green. Had a little bit of gold, a little bit of blue. It was the Golden Paradise Atlantis tail from FinFun. But I remember very vividly Finfolk posting in April of, what was it, 2023? April of 2023, their tail of the month was going to be the Aqua Fairy Mermaid tail. And I was completely infatuated by it. It is light blue and a light purple with some darker teal outlines and patterns and stuff. And I was so taken with the colors. Blue has always been my favorite color, but I had never considered it to be like my color as a mermaid. And when I bought that tail, my God, things just clicked for me. And I eventually started thinking about that tail and thinking about the name of the tail. And I was like, if like I had a Mersona, like what would her story be? And I decided on this tail. It looked ethereal. It almost looked ghostly, but not in a scary way, more in a spirit-y way, like a nature spirit. So I came up with the idea that my Mersona is like a freshwater, like nature spirit that guards this enchanted forest that no one knows about. And I'm not totally fully fleshed out on the rest of it, but I have bought like two more tails since then, and I've started coming up with different Mersonas for every tail. So we're still in the process of that.
I do have to add, because you reminded me a little bit with the tails and the different Mersonas and everything. And I know that you're going to love this because we mentioned Barbie earlier, but I nickname all of my tails after different Barbie movie
Oh my God,
characters.
I love that.
Yes, and I was just talking during Mermagicon from with Eric from Mertailor, and he'd asked me what tails that I brought, and I literally blanked because I was like, "Oh God, what are their names
That's
again?"
funny. That's hilarious.
My Mersona is essentially just me. I grew up watching H2O, as I assume you guys and everyone else listening to this
100%.
probably has. And
Hmm.
one thing I was always in love with was just the idea of that double secret life. The idea of, oh, on the surface, you're just like this normal human being, but as soon as you touch water or you go into the water, you suddenly become like this magical, mythical being. And so that's what I did with my Mersona. I didn't really come up with it until after I got my tail, which is a Ruby Calypso FinFun Elite. Not a very good beginner tail, I gotta say, but I was just infatuated with it. I love the colors so much, but I digress. So the whole backstory to my Mersona is he wound up finding a magical necklace at a sale one time, and the previous owner thought that it just didn't work. She she just kept rambling on about how someone lied to her and how it didn't work, yada yada. I take it home, and at some point, the moonlight from the full moon casts down and shines upon the necklace, and it activates,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term. After that happens, anytime I touch water, suddenly I just grow a tail, and so it makes life a bit more interesting
Ain't
and
that the
exciting.
dream?
That's my whole Mersona's backstory. There's a bunch of other stuff involving a sea witch and a boyfriend that's also half octopus, but that's
Incredible.
that's a discussion for another time.
For sure. I just love listening to these kind of Mersona stories. I love
Yeah.
just hearing what comes from everyone's just their mind, the imagination that we still have. I love it. I could just listen to that stuff all day.
Now, I guess the important question that some of our newbie mermaid listeners or people who aren't even into the activity at all, the big question they're probably asking is a mersona necessary? Do you guys think a mersona is necessary to get into the activity at all?
No, I don't think so
No.
at all. I think it might be something that eventually comes to you. So you might not come in with one, but by golly, I think if you stay in the community, I think you're gonna come out with one.
If a kid catches you on the beach, you will come up with one really fast. I will tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I have to agree as well. I wouldn't say that it's necessary, but I
It's
do
fun.
think, yeah, it's fun. I think it helps with the immersion.
Yeah, I think so
You know,
too.
I think it helps you get in. It helps you get into that mindset of, oh yes, I am a mermaid, a merman, a merperson. I think that imagination, that playfulness, is just all the difference in the world when it comes
I
to
agree.
mermaiding.
And I think our community as a whole is just naturally so creative. I think it's really hard once you get into it to not come up with a mersona because you'll see all these other people coming up with these awesome stories and just getting inspiration for their looks and stuff. And you're going to want to be like, oh, that's cool. And collecting accessories and stuff for your like mermaid, your mersona, and your mermaid look if you have a tail. And you're gonna ask yourself questions like, why does my mersona wear a net belt? Why does my mersona wear this color top? Why does my mersona's tail look like this? Are they from the ocean? Are they from the freshwater? And I think the story just starts to unravel from there naturally.
Now, Sierra, you mentioned making up a mersona on the spot to not break the illusion for kids. Have you guys ever had that kind of situation before where the kid.
Absolutely.
Do
Um,
tell, do tell.
in the winter, in the town that I reside in, there is a hotel pool that does let me use my tail, and I use it for exercise a lot. A lot of the time, it's me rocking with the
That's
old ladies.
hilarious.
I
I
get
love that for you.
it's a hotel. Kids do stay there. And so, in between me mermaiding and the water aerobics of the older folk, you will find a kid or two. And this one time in particular, I did have a group of kids who were very excited that there was a mermaid in the pool. And thank goodness that I live so close to both a lake and a river. So it was very convenient that this hotel was on the lakeside. And I had just said that the hotel brings me in for the winter and lets me stay there in the chlorinated
That's
pool.
hilarious. Do you think they believed it?
That's
Yeah, they
cute.
loved it. Oh, yeah, for sure. They were asking questions about why the bottom of my tail felt the way it did, and I told them that I was like, you have bones in your feet too, don't you? I have bones in my
I
tail.
do, in fact, have bones.
What about you, Ash? Do you have a
I
story
can't
like
say
this?
that I've ever really mermaided in public. I tend to find the most private of areas, but I feel like
What about public gatherings with your pod? Have you anything like that
I think
happen?
let me think. I did have one. We were like posing for pictures and stuff. It was a charity event. And like kids would come up and they would ask, like, why are you here? And thankfully, the charity event was taking place like on a lake. It was a nasty lake. I don't think any mermaid would want to live
Right.
there, but the kids don't know that. So we told them that they like fished us from the lake and they got us to where we were sitting like with a golf cart and They totally bought it, but they would ask me. I had the mermaid that I was with, they gave me a tip of you gotta watch the kids, especially when there's a lot of kids and they're like touching your tail. If you let them touch your tail, you have to act, especially the fluke part, because obviously you can feel if they touched like your thigh or your calf area, but the fluke part, you gotta watch when they touch that, because that's gonna be how they tell if you're real or not. Is they're gonna touch that fluke, and if you don't react, they're gonna be like, ah, so not real. So
Yes.
they
Right.
touch our fluke, and we'd have to flip it a little bit and be like, oh, that tickles. It was adorable. It was adorable.
I was. You guys are lucky because I've never had that kind of interaction in public, at least not yet. Normally, when people saw me in my tail, for two different instances where I went to the lake, one for the photo shoot and another for the birthday gathering with Sierra and another merman that I know, we went there and we just got people staring at us. Not even like the good, like curious kind of stare. It's more like just the what the heck is going on
The
here
one man who
stare.
kept walking back and forth.
Really?
Yeah, him.
What?
Like, God.
Yes. It was literally like 20 minutes. He just kept pacing back and forth behind us.
That
It was
is
so weird.
strange, to say the least. I feel like y'all don't look
I'm
intimidating. You could have asked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to like.
That's something that bothers me about being in mermaiding in public and stuff. It's just the stares, and I have to get over that. But that's also a reason why I feel like maybe to keep the magic alive, having a fallback for explaining things about your mersona can be a good thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
see,
absolutely.
that's something I was mentally preparing for when I did my photo shoot. I had to like look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, okay, you are a real merman. You transform with a necklace. This is your mersona. You got this. Just like rehearsing an explanation for like any kids that would pass by and be like, "Oh, look, mommy, it's a mermaid man."
It's a
Uh,
mermaid man.
but unfortunately, nothing like that happened, and I'm still holding out hope that something like that will happen one day. Because god damn it, I love seeing those like big surprised looks on the kids' faces, those big smiles, like that. That just warms my heart so much.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and it does come in handy to be able to have that backstory is good, but to also be able to come up with things on the spot because children ask a lot of questions that you wouldn't really expect
Oh,
them
they
to
do.
ask.
Oh, they do.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Curious minds, they will inquire.
Yeah, I work in like early
Oh yeah.
childhood, like education. My gosh, you got to shut off the question faucet at some point by giving them a satisfactory answer. They will not stop until they are certain they understand something, which is beautiful. Got to be prepared for that bombardment of the young mind.
You're listening to WPOD FM Mermaid Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Is your skeg in a snag? Is your rudder in a rut?
Or maybe you just got a funny smell coming from your cockpit.
You should probably see a doctor for that sort of thing. Then be sure to tune into Boat Talk here on WPOD FM with us Flip and Flap the Tapwater Brothers, where we talk about boats, boat repair.
And hopefully we'll find out why they call it the Pope Deck.
New episodes every Saturday at 10, reruns the following Sunday. And remember, don't dive like my brother.
And don't dive like my brother.
All right, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to talk. We've talked about our mersonas, and we've talked about like why would you want to have a mersona, like different details about mersonas. But we are going to go through and play a little game where we are going to create a mersona together using a
Hey.
different, like a prompt list that's going around on Blue Sky right now. Basically, asking commenters to assign different traits to a non-existent mermaid character. So when we get finished with this, we are going to pick a prompt from the official mermaid prompt list, and the three of us are going to draw the mermaid that we create together using these different prompts. So this should be very interesting considering I don't think any of us have any inkling of artistic talent.
No, not at all.
All right. So, for our first category, we have gender. Do we want a merfolk, a mermaid, or I guess a merperson, a mermaid, or a merman?
I'm going to make mine a mermaid, just to differentiate it from my
I think I'm
mersona.
also gonna do a mermaid.
I'll do a mermaid, keep it classic, and then there's also so many things that we could do for the top decoration.
Agreed.
So I'll go with that.
Alright, so let's sketch that real quick in whichever format we're using.
Mine kind of looks like an alien.
That's valid, that's valid. I gotta start thinking about what mermaid prompt that I want to use.
Alright, excuse me 1 second while I find an
That's
eraser.
alright. I'm not even gonna try to draw hands.
I always hate drawing bodies themselves, because it's like, I always make the waistlines way too big.
It's alright, I'm just using lined paper and a regular old mechanical pencil.
Okay, that's valid. Alright, next category, we have age. I think I'm gonna go with hashtag beach goth prompt for May 16th. I think that's what I'm gonna go for. Because that's the total opposite of my vibe, so I think it's a good exercise.
What does that have to do with age,
Oh,
though?
well, I'm gonna make her around my age, like how I think I would dress. So like 20s. How I think I would dress if those were my vibes.
Okay. Alright. I'm making mine a young adult as well.
I will make mine middle-aged. Switch it up a little.
Alright, fourth thing. Or no, third thing. We're on third thing. Body type.
Made mine just like a normal body type.
Yeah, I tried to do the same.
Yeah, I went for on the smaller side, I think, mostly because I think I screwed up the proportions. She's looking a little
My
long.
proportions? Yeah. Somehow her tail is, like, way thicker than the rest of her,
Hey,
but
thick
we're just
tail,
going with
don't
it.
care.
Yeah, exactly,
All right.
exactly.
Ethnicity and skin tone. Obviously, I'm going with goth, but I don't think goths have to be pale as death. I think I'm gonna go for a little bit of a warmer skin tone. She lives by the beach. I just gotta get a color that actually looks like skin.
Let's see. I also need to get out my colored pencils.
You guys are using colored pencils? I've just been doing it black and white the whole time.
That's fine. I've just been, oh no. I've been drawing on my
Oh,
iPad.
they do not want to
even
come out
though
of the
I
art
suck
box.
at
Here we
drawing
go.
on my iPad. Gotta change the layer though.
I am making mine tan.
Yeah, she's gonna be on the tanner side as well.
And then I'm gonna use Wicked
Ooh, I'm
for
excited to see
my...
how that one comes out.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Morgana, Little Mermaid 2. It's a vibe
What
I've
a
got with the
vibe.
hair.
Oh, okay. That's a deep cut right there, actually.
Speaking of
I
hair,
really see.
we got hair
People-
colors. I'm gonna do mine black just for simplicity's sake. It's just so I have less to color.
I'm going with a
Ooh.
silver.
Platinum.
This one is called. Will you really be able to see it? I don't know, but we're gonna...
I'm probably...
Mhm.
This is hair color, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll wing it.
Alright.
I'm just winging this whole thing.
Awesome. Alright, eye colors. I'll go with a nice piercing blue.
I'm gonna go with purple.
Purple. Silver hair, purple eyes. I love that. Love that. Alright, tail color. I don't know. I'm going with goth mermaid, or like beach goth, but I don't know if I want to make the tail like black. I think that's too obvious. So maybe I'm gonna go with a dark violet.
On the nose.
I think I'll go with a dark
Oh, there's an
violet
idea.
here. I don't actually like the brush that I'm using right now.
Looking through my bin, wondering. I think I'm gonna go with the same purple.
I might do like an ombre though. Ooh,
I'm thinking I did give her spikes, so I think the spikes are gonna be
nice.
purple.
Very nice. I think I'm gonna do an ombre into black. I think I can blend on this, so might as well try. Alright, bin types and shapes. I think
Oh, I went
I
with
went with like a classic
triangles,
Little
a lot of
Mermaid shape.
points.
I think that's just what came out when I started drawing.
Yeah.
What I'm most excited for is body markings. My girl, she's tatted
Okay.
up. She
Ooh.
is tatted up. I've got like a skull and crossbones.
I went with a little bit of neon green with mine as well.
I'm gonna give her like an under the chest tattoo piece, but I'm gonna model it after like the heart of Tafiti from Moana.
Ooh.
Just like a little spiral looking thing. Don't ever let me design your tattoos because this is going horrifically.
I will give mine snake
Ooh. I'm gonna go.
on the arm. It's not gonna look like a snake, but we're gonna say it's a snake.
I don't know if I should put any markings on her tail. Maybe I'll give her like little tiger stripes.
I did more
Nice.
triangles.
Very nice.
Triangles galore. For sure, you could expect better art out of, I would say, a third grader, but it's cool.
Hey, we're trying our best.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you have cooking up in that noggin of yours?
Nothing picturesque, if that's what you're asking.
We got fashion, style, and theme. I think mine is pretty obvious. I'm going with goth type clothes and such.
Yes, I went witchy.
Very cool.
Goofy?
Love it.
That's like the best way I can. That's the best way I can describe what I'm drawing right now. Oh lordy, this is not a skin color at all. Salmon should not be a skin color. This is the kind of color you use if you want to make someone look sunburnt.
Maybe she spends a lot of time on
But
the
you know what?
beach.
It fits the look. Yeah, she most definitely looks like the kind of person that would be on the beach a lot.
I burn so easily. It's actually ridiculous.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. I remember I have a friend of mine that lives in New Hampshire still, right? And one time I got sunburnt so bad, and she was being such a jackass the whole time. And she would always just give me like a full palm, like slap on the back the entire time. I miss those summers.
I think I can give my girl more hair. Oh, I don't like that actually. Actually, I should do it in pen. She's just got a tangle of hair. Mermaid hair, don't care. She takes that very seriously.
It's okay, girl. I do too.
Alright, almost done.
Alright, so on the video, viewers, you will see the three of ours lined up, all presented. From left to we have mine, and then we have Sierra's, and then we have Nathaniel's. So I will go ahead and talk about mine. I'm gonna name her Jeanette, okay? Her name is Jeanette. And she is she's a fairly laid-back mermaid. She likes to be left to herself, though. She enjoys spending time on the beach in a little rock grotto that she found. And she loves alternative fashion. And since she lives in an ocean near a big city, she takes notes from the humans' fashion. So that's where she gets some of her inspiration from.
I like it.
Alright,
Sarah, what about yours?
All right, mine. I will name her Megan. I drew inspiration from Morgana from The Little Mermaid 2 because she was wicked, that's for sure.
Alright.
But I gave her a little snake sidekick. She is also, personality-wise, a bit of a
Ooh.
snake. She's a bit cocky.
Nice.
Yeah. And she's just an all-around troublemaker. She's one of those middle-aged women that still think that they're in high school. That's what I went with. I thought that it would be fun to do something like that because those women, they are truly wicked.
Love her, love her.
So the one I made, her name is
Spleef.
Spleef,
But
I love it.
named after the
Okay,
Minecraft
yeah.
game mode. She has absolutely zero brain cells in that head of hers, as you can clearly see.
She's so real.
She just glides along and she has no control over her own actions. The only people who have control over her are the two starfish she's
Okay.
wearing as a top, and they're constantly bickering with one another as to what they should do with her. Like, One is like lawfully good, the other is
That's
chaotic
hilarious.
evil.
That is
So
so hilarious.
they are constantly at odds with what they're going to do at any given moment, even if it's something as simple as trying to get
That's
lunch.
so funny. Let me guess the prompt you used. I'm gonna say eccentric.
Actually, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I just forgot what the prompts were and I just winged
Okay,
it.
if I had to put her in a prompt, I would say eccentric. Purely because of
Eccentric,
her
yeah.
two eccentric
Eccentric, alright.
sidekicks. Dutifully placed on her modesty. But this just goes to show that anyone can participate in MerMay. Anyone can participate in the prompts. You don't have to be world-renowned artist. You don't have to have 1,000 followers on social media. Just create.
In my instance, you don't even have to
Yeah.
follow the prompts.
Just draw something and I'm sure it'll fit in somewhere, somehow. Alright, it's time for Community Corner. I want to start off by thanking the lovely artist that has volunteered their talents to our episode art. It truly looks wonderful. You can follow Kuroshio on Blue Sky at kuroshio225.bluesky.social. He frequently posts mermaid art all the time, and he's also a wonderfully valued member of our Discord community and has been for many years. So thank you again, Kuroshio, for making the art for our episode.
Yes, thank you so much. We love it. We love you. We're so excited to share your talent with the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's an artist I would like to give a shout out as well. He's not in the community at all, but my family does have a history in working in the arts, whether it's film or radio or in this case, like actual paintings and such. So I want to give a shout out to my own grandfather who is running his own business called Pigs in a Poke. And this is a series of paintings that are just some of the funniest things you will ever see in your life. I grew up watching him paint these myself, and some of them are just absolutely hysterical. They're just a series of pigs just doing like these really funny little things. Some of them are parodies of famous paintings. Some of them are play on words or puns, and they are just really funny. So if you guys want to go check out and maybe even support a local artist, go check out pigsinapoke.com. I'm sure he would appreciate the business.
Awesome. And I would also like to reemphasize that on our Discord community, the pod, we have frequent stream events and just different things that go on in there. Our artist that has dutifully created our last episode's art and our profile picture and logo, Chico DeMar, he hosts a art stream every week, every Monday, I do believe. And Merman Nathaniel over here has started hosting a weekly game stream. So that's just a chance for everyone
Hello.
to hang out and spend some time with each other and just connect in a different way.
And don't forget that in other connections to this mermaid, connect with nature, the outside. Being a mermaid isn't just about the mersona or having fun swimming, but it is also about taking care of what we have. So I very much encourage you to get outside, enjoy the fresh air, and if you are able, even clean up a little bit.
Absolutely. It should be all of our responsibilities to make sure that our environments and our waterways are clean. And since the weather's nice, what better way to give back than to go clean up the very environments that our mersonas call home?
Thanks for joining us for this month's episode of the Mermaid Podcast.
Tune in next month for our Pride Month episode.
Don't forget to get on your shell phones and follow us on TikTok and Blue Sky at the Mermaid Podcast and join our wonderful Discord community, linked in the description. Happy splashing! We would like to thank our coffee donors that have made this month's episode possible, Isla and Elizabeth. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your support.
If you enjoyed this month's episode and want to hear more from us, consider donating to our Ko-fi page, linked in the description down below. Every amount counts and helps pay for our recording software and maintenance fees. Without your donations, we couldn't do what we do. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. This has been the Mermaid Podcast here on WPOD FM, Mermaid Radio. I'm Gary Guppy, and we hope to catch you all next time.